Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about NumPy. NumPy is a Python library that's like a supercharged calculator for working with the numbers, whether you are analyzing exam score, calculating monthly expenses, or even editing images, which is a part of deep learning in which we converting images into the arrays form. NumPy basically do that thing, which is converting images into the array form into the numeric form. So NumPy make math faster and easier. So let's dive into it. So firstly, what is NumPy? NumPy is what? It is a numerical Python library. Python library for efficient numerical computation. If we compare the normal list, we basically compare numerical array, which is NumPy array, with our Python list. Both are look similar in some manner, but there are some differences between the NumPy library and the array. If we compare the speed of the list when we are perform any sort of operation on the list and NumPy array, so NumPy is much faster as comparatively Python list. As you can see, there is a one graph is plotted here. One is basically for NumPy array and one is for our Python list. So as you can see, there is a exponential changes in the speed of NumPy array as comparatively Python list. So you can consider with one some example. Suppose you have the list of number like a 1 2 3 4, which is Python can handle this. But if you have thousand of numbers, things get slow. So problem with Python list is what? They are flexible but not built for heavy maths. And the solution for that we have the NumPy, which uses an array, which is a much faster and smarter way to store number. So that all things we are going to learn. So we can think it as like a Python list is a row of grocery cart. Each cart holds a different item. But NumPy array is a high speed train. Every compartment is the same, so it moves faster. So this example we can relate with this. So next question is, why use NumPy, or we can say it as a why there is a need of NumPy. So problem with list, which we already did rectify, that is it is slower with some large data set. It is not built in math operation. So small operation we can do, but for heavy math we have to use this NumPy library. And solution which we have mentioned is a NumPy array, much faster and the memory efficient. Now next is why there is a NumPy. If you talk about the key features of NumPy, it is efficiency and multidimensional arrays and mathematical functions. It has some built-in mathematical functions like a sum, calculating average, mean, dot product, that all. Now we will answer some question, which is a what is a NumPy array. So NumPy array, for that we will create a proper one array in with the help of coding. So we will use this Jupyter notebook. So let me zoom it. Firstly we will connect this one. Okay, so for using NumPy we have to import that library, and for importing that library we have to use the keywords like import NumPy as a np. So with this statement we are importing that library in our working environment. If I run this cell, so now that NumPy library is imported in my environment, and whenever I need that library, I'll simply use the np rather than calling the complete function of NumPy. So np is the alias statement for the NumPy. Now what I'll do, I'll create one list and I'll convert that list into the NumPy array. So I hope you are familiar with the basic function of the Python, like how to create. There is a data type, we can say it as a list. So I'll create that list, my list. So for creating Python, we can say list, we will simply use the square bracket, and inside that we can add some kind of the data in the sense we can add some numeric value, we can add some object, integer value, different sort of data we can add. I'll simply use the digits 1 2 3 4 and then 5. So this is one list I have created. Okay, if I check the type of that list, or we can set this data type. So it will show simply a list. Now I'll convert this list into the NumPy array. For that, what we need to do, I'll simply use that library np.array. I'll use the array function, and inside that I'll pass this my list. And for better reusability, I'll store in some variable. I can give the name something like a my array. And now I'll run this. It is showing some array. Maybe there is a one problem. NumPy has no attribute array. np.arr, maybe spelling mistake was happening here. So now this is converted into the one array form, which is a numeric array. Okay, if I call this one my array, so it is showing that array and there is a bracket 1 2 3 4 5. Now we will check the type of this data type. Okay, so I'll use the type function type and I'll pass the my array. So it is showing the numpy n d array. So it is basically saying that it is a numpy n dimensional array. And if you check the same, we are using the same that data which we have created first in first cell or second cell. Here we have created one list and we have checked the data type. At that time it is showing the list, but as we are using the numpy array and we are converting that list into the numpy format or numpy array, so it is changing that data frame, and even for presenting that data it's also changed. And now this is our converted data type which is present into the numpy n dimensional array. So this is how we can create a simple n dimensional array, or we can say numpy array is like a grid of number. So we have created that one, and output which we got this one. Now there are different type of array we can create. There is a 1D array, 2D array, 3D array. Basically 1D array is this one which is look like a list. 2D array is simply look like a table which consists of rows and columns. Now what we will do, we will create one 2D array which we generally called as a matrix. Okay, the structure of that array is look like a matrix, or we can say it as a table. So for that we will simply use the np dot array, same function, and here we will pass some data inside that one. I'll use 1 2 3, and I'll create one another 4 5 6, and I'll save this complete into some variable. We can give some name as a matrix. Now I run this, it is showing me something error. Maybe we have forgotten to close this one. Okay, now I'm calling this one matrix. As you can see, the structure of this data and the structure of this one is something different. Okay, it is showing this is a one dimensional, it is a two dimensional. Both are the array, but here we consist of the rows and columns, which we generally format of matrix. The horizontal thing is called as a row, and the vertical line are called as a column. So it consists of the two rows and column, and we called it as a two-dimensional data set. If I check data type of this, it is showing the n-dimensional array, same data type, but here it is a two-dimensional and here it is a one-dimensional. So this is how we can create a simple array using the NumPy library. Now we know how to create that arrays. So after that we will look at some basic operations like adding two arrays or calculating an average or reshaping that arrays. So we will see that sort of operations. For that we will create some two array of one dimensional. So array 1, and you know very well now how to create the arrays. So array, and here I'll pass my data. So 1 2 3, this is my first array, and the array 2 will also look the same. np dot array, and I'll pass my data inside that one. Let's say 4 comma 5 comma 6. Now we have two arrays created. Let me run this one. Okay, so these two arrays are created. Now we can do the addition operation in this in between two arrays. So for that we will simply use the operator of a plus or addition, and we can store in some variable that result which we will get as a addition of these two array. We can store in some variable. So for that I'll use the one variable as a result, and here I'll perform the addition operation, array 1 and array 2. So let me call that result. So it is showing that 5 7 9, 4 plus 1 is a 5, 5 plus 2 that one is a 7, and 6 plus 3 that one is our 9. So this is how we can do the basic sum, or we can say it's an addition we can do. Now what we will do, we will see like there is some statistics terms like calculating average or calculating the mean. That thing we will see as we have the different functions in NumPy array. If I wait for some time, maybe it will show some kind of the suggestions, but maybe as we are using the Jupyter, so it maybe not. Simply what we will do, we will use the function of mean for calculating the average. Firstly, let me create one array. Suppose we have the different grades. We are performing where we want to calculate the average marks of that student. So we will take a score of that student. Suppose there are 4 to 5 students are present. We are storing that we are taking the average, we are calculating the average of that score. So for that I'll use the firstly I'll create the score, np, same procedure, array, and I'll use, suppose someone got 86 marks, someone got some 89 marks, someone got 78 marks, someone got the 90 marks. So this is the marks we can store in some variable like a grades, and let me run this one. Now what we will do, we'll simply calculate the average of that thing. For that we simply have to use the np dot means. Okay, np dot mean, and here we will pass the that variable of grade where we have stored the complete scores. So grades, and we can store in some variable, we can call it as a simply average. So if I run this and call this average, so it is showing me the 85.75. so this is how we can calculate the average. If we want to reshape some array, so that also we can do. For that firstly we will create some array. So np dot array, and here I'll add the values. Suppose 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4. This is the array. Now I'll simply firstly let me store in some variable. Now array dot reshape is a function we have in the array or NumPy where we can define in which dimension we have. Suppose this is the simply one dimensional array, I want to create into the two dimensional. So for that I can use, I'll simply pass the number of dimension, 2 by 2 matrix suppose I want to create, so that I can pass, I can store in some variable, let's suppose mat I'll use, and then I'll call that mat. So the shape of that array has changed. So we have seen the three basic operation. One is what? Firstly, there is a addition. Okay. One is what we have seen. First one is our addition. Okay. And next one which we have seen, which is calculating the average. Okay. Here we have seen the calculating average. And next and last we have seen the how we can reshape the arrays. Reshaping in it means how to convert or changing the dimension of that arrays. Reshape an array. So I hope you got some basic idea how the introductory part for the NumPy, how we can create the NumPy, how we can create the arrays using the NumPy library, and some basic kind of the operation.
Thanks for watching the video. Our knowledge partners, certification alliances and curriculum creators are. Join our popular courses and get an immersive learning experience as we proudly serve as a global trailblazing training solutions provider, dealing with bringing a revolution in upskilling by offering comprehensive and specialized training programs. Following are our services: instructor-led virtual training, on-site training, corporate training, exclusive and individual training, self-paced training, classroom training, customized training, campus training. To know more about our courses, visit our website. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe the video.